So contrary to what the thumbnail says, this video isn't saying to absolutely not ascend to world level 7, but rather I want to give you guys the pros and cons of ascending your world level up to world level 7. Then with that information, you can decide whether or not you think it's worth it. In my particular situation, I did not ascend to world level 7 right when I hit AR 50. My name is Crypt13 and here's why. So the first point I want to make is that the drop rates don't get that much better. So I'm talking about the drop rates from the elite bosses like the hypostasis enemies and the Regisfine enemies. So here are the drop rates for the electro hypostasis, and we can see that for the things that we care about like 5-star artifacts and the purple drops and the gold drops, they don't really get a significant increase to their drop rate when you go to world level 7. For 5-star artifacts, it increases by maybe around 15 to 20%, and then the purple drops, they hardly increase at all. And then for the gold gem drops, they go up by like 1%. And then when it comes to the boss specific materials over here all the way on the right side, it increases by maybe 10%, meaning the chance to get 3 of those drops from the boss increases ever so slightly. So here is a condensed table for all of the bosses, and we can see that again, the drop rates just don't seem that much worth it compared to world level 6 and world level 7. And the important things that we care about, 5 stars, purple chunks, and gold chunks, and the specific boss drops, between a world level 6 and world level 7, the drop rate doesn't really significantly increase. For our 5-star artifacts, we get about a 20% increase. For our purple chunks, it's almost doesn't change at all. And our gem drop rate increases by like 1%, and then our specific boss drops don't really increase by that much. You'll get maybe 3 drops 50% of the time. World bosses will also see a slight increase to their drop rate for their specific drops and for artifacts. So these are things like miniatures, mages, etc, etc. And again, they're increased, but it's barely noticeable, just like the elite bosses. Realistically, how many people are going around killing all the enemies on the map every day anyway? However, if you are one of those players that does this, then you might enjoy that small boost in drop rate. Otherwise, you're really just not going to notice it at all. The increase in drop rate is just way too minuscule for it to be worth it. Many of the numbers being thrown out for the artifact drop rate for these monsters is about 5% for purple and 12% for blue. So make that decision for yourselves. Do you guys think that the drop rates from world level 6 to world level 7 is actually worth it? Okay, next I want to talk about the domains. So when it comes to the domains, you don't actually get anything new. All of the ley lines are going to stay the same. The Mora and XP ley lines are still going to give you 60,000 Mora and about 6 to 7 adventures experience and 4 to 5 heroes wits. You also don't get any new domain levels. Every domain for most of the materials that you need, artifacts, weapon materials, talents, is going to be unlocked at AR 45. You don't need to ascend your world level to get access to Child's and Stormterror's final domain level. You simply need to get to AR 50. And then my next point is that it's going to make it harder for you to play new characters. You'll need to invest a little bit more into those new characters if you want a change in pace in your gameplay. To me, playing the same team comp can get really boring, so I like switching up my team every so often. But if you ascend your world level, your new characters are going to have a slightly more difficult time with those enemies in the world. Not a super hard time, but definitely a little bit more than if you stayed at world level 6. And especially since resources are pretty scarce, the most efficient use of your resin is to ascend them simply to phase 4 and to keep them at level 60. And at this point, if you ascend to world level 7, you're going to be putting them up against enemies that are like between level 75 and level 80. It's not going to be impossible again, but it's going to be a little bit harder. Then there is one last thing that I want to mention about world level 7. This could be considered a pro, and this point is that Boreas is going to get a guaranteed double drop rate for his weekly boss material. So that means his ring, his spirit locket, and his tail. Every time you challenge Boreas, you will get a guaranteed 2 drop from him at world level 7. So the reason why Boreas gets affected by the world level is because his challenge is not a domain. He just appears simply in the world. So his drop rates change with the world level instead of the domain level. However, if you don't have any characters that use this talent material, then you're not going to get any benefit from this. And those characters also need to be at least Ascension 5 to get their talent level up to 8 anyway. So even if you do have these characters but they're not Ascension 5, then you're still not getting the benefit of getting double drop rates from Boreas. However, if you do have these characters, I'll go ahead and leave them up on the screen. If you do have any of these characters, then that can definitely be worth going up to world level 7. So with all of these things in mind, that's why I decided to stay at world level 6. I wanted to use more characters so that I could play around with my team comps, and I didn't really have a use for getting extra Boreas drops. I plan to play this game in the long term, so the extra drops that I'm missing out from Boreas is not really too big of a deal for me, but hoarding the Boreas drops for future characters could be very enticing. So of course, if that's something that you value, then by all means go ahead and ascend to world level 7. I will probably be ascending to world level 7 soon, but in the meantime, I'm just going to be working on other characters and playing around with new team comps. Anyway guys, that's going to be it for this video. Let me know what you guys think. Are you guys going to be ascending to world level 7 right when you hit AR 50, or are you gonna take a little easy and stay at world level 6? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys later.